නමෝ තස්ස භගවතෝ අරහතෝ සම්මා සම්බුද්දස්ස නමෝ තස්ස භගවතෝ අරහතෝ සම්මා සම්බුද්දස්ස නමෝ තස්ස භගවතෝ අරහතෝ සම්මා සම්බුද්දස්ස අත්තදීපා භික්කවේ විහෙරත අත්තසරණා අනඤ්ඤ සරණා ධම්මදීපා ධම්මසරණා අනඤ්ඤ සරණාති තී. Dear friends in Dhamma, actually we were discussing a particular sutta. This is available in the Kanda Sangyukta. You know that there are certain connected discourses. Basically, Buddha wants to discuss about a particular theme. So all that suttas are collected in a particular topic under a topic, particular topics. Such different topics are collected and they are called Sangyukta Nikaya, collected discourses of the Buddha. So I have selected the aggregates. So among the topic of aggregates, so this sutta called Attadipa Sutta, be an island. So be an island is a very interesting theme that Buddha discussed. Attadipa bhikkave viharata attasarana ananya sarana. Monks, you got to dwell keeping yourself as an island. And there is no any other refuge. So ourselves as a refuge and nothing else as a refuge. Dhammadipa dhammasarana ananya sarana. Dhamma as a refuge, Dhamma as an island and nothing else as a refuge. Now this is a very in a way fairly a matured way of looking at our practice. So typically we as world beings say we think of various kinds of refuge, various kinds of we expect some kind of happiness, some kind of pleasure or safety from many different sources. Say for example, we being children, so we want our mother to be with us, our father to be with us. So if we can't see them, we start crying. So probably you can remember very old, our early childhood, how we are so dependent on our parents. And then probably if we feel hungry, we feel unhappy, unsatisfied, and we start crying. And if there is any kind of an ailment, we start crying. And we need affection from the parents. So that becomes the real refuge. So my mother is my real refuge, my father is my real refuge. So the parents. Then we are growing and then we may get to know various other family members, maybe my sister, my brother, maybe my best friend. So likewise we start expanding our circle. And now we have several friends and without them now it's very difficult to play. So I am playing with them now. So I like to play with them. I am now going to the kindergarten and all that is something now going on. Now we are dependent on another level. So with our family members, other family members, our say friends, so likewise. And on the other hand, even during that time, so we are still dependent on our parents, their safety and how they are treating us. And if they are ill-treating, then we are in trouble. And we expect so much of other external sources for us to giving some sort of satisfaction, some kind of a safety, feeling comfortable. Kind of a psychological impact is there coming from the outside. So on the other hand, as we are further growing, now we are assume that we are in a teenage level. So now we have other emotions and various ways that we look at the society and we are so emotional, we want to satisfy our senses and so geared, motivated, many plans, thinking ahead and many lustful thoughts. And so likewise a different way of looking at things. So probably we are keeping our body as a refuge, not on the proper sense, but we want to beautify ourselves, to satisfy, kind of gratifying the senses. So that is how we are using the body. That is how we think about ourselves, satisfying ourselves, gratifying ourselves, having fun. And then we may be going through further. And now probably we may have a fiancé or fiancée And without him, her, we can't live. Always chatting, always talking, writing, emails, WhatsApp. Many things are there today. So we are so dependent. So their presence is very important to us. So if they are not giving a call during our birthday, we'll be really troubled. Just recently, there's now going on a retreat in Nissarana. There is one guy from a country, I don't want to say where. So he just want to talk with someone. So unfortunately or fortunately, I met him. So he is just 40 and his fiancée is 25. Big difference, by the way. Now he is here, she is there, and he is expecting a call from her during his birthday. And they are supposed to marry this coming 18th, February 18th. And he didn't get the call from her, so this fellow is crying. Talking to me. He's talking to me and he's crying and saying, Bhante, I am going to marry her on this date, but she forgot me. How can this happen? And she's he's genuinely crying. He's so dependent. Now, typically the opposite can happen. The girl might be crying, the boy might be, playful and, joking and this and. But the opposite is here. So he is a really emotional, sensible, romantic fellow. And he's expecting some kind of greetings from her because they are going to marry soon. But she forgot him. So once he called, she said, so I am so busy. So you are busy even, there are things important than me. So dependent. So we are expecting that kind of a relationship. We are so dependent. And so you can only remember her, think about her, wherever you think, okay, she's there. So he left the retreat, can't, settle himself. Because, once you close your eyes, so this is the things coming to your mind. So once you are so attached, so you are so dependent. So likewise, we can go through such kind of emotional levels, so highly emotional. And those emotions are bothering us, always coming to the surface of the mind. Even though you are trying to keep yourself unattached, very difficult. Again and again, so those emotions are bothering you. And how much dependent? So, it can go to a very different levels. So if assume that he simply neglect him, I don't want to marry you, that's it. This fellow even can commit suicide. That is possible even. So dependent. So we are like that, very emotional people. And sometimes these emotions are coming to the level that we can't even control them. And ultimately they even guide us to entirely a wrong direction. And ultimately someone can even commit suicide. So the emotions. Now we are talking on that subject. Because last month we discussed about the form aggregate under this topic. Now today we need to discuss about the feelings. Now typically, so we consider feelings as mine. I am the one feeling. And so these are either my feelings. So I am feeling happy. I am unhappy. I am feeling worried. I am crying. I am really happy. I am so happy. So this is how we, talk with others. And as we are further and further incorporating those kinds of feelings within our mind, so and so, again and again attached, again and again developed, so ultimately we can become so emotional. So you are emotionally uplifted. Emotionally you are being, elated. Now she's assumed that the same story will do a little change. Now assume that he got the call and he's so happy. Now he can come to Nissarana and meditate even long hours because so happy, so uplifted. the opposite. But now the opposite happened. Now there is no call, there is no greetings. She simply forgot him. She is busy. Something more important than him. Going to marry so soon, but completely ignored. So unhappy, so frustrated. So those emotions are now overwhelming him. Now even crying. Tears are coming. Genuinely, he's crying. Now this is how the life is continuing. So the feelings are now grown to a very higher level. So then we call them as kind of emotions. But the very bottom, very early stage is the feeling. Maybe a little sadness, little sorrow, or little uncomfortable feeling, a little bit of unsatisfaction. I was expecting her call but not get it. On my birthday, she forgot me. So kind of an expectation is there. So that not being fulfilled, you feel unhappy. So that unhappiness. Now again and again you are thinking, oh, did I get a call next hour, next minute? Did she send me a WhatsApp message? Not yet. Did she send an email? Not yet. So many options are there, no? So looking at this, no response. 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 A call, no. So aggravating the situation. So it is growing. Ultimately it becomes really huge. So your mind is completely filled with a sorrowful emotion. Now difficult to control. So the emotions are really overwhelming us, burning us. So the feelings, on the other hand, at the very bottom level, at the very early stage, if we are able to recognize, so then it's a real advantage. But typically what happens is, so we are ignorant about those feelings and it may grow to a very higher level, have become emotions, and then we are merely a victim of those emotions. And I take the emotion as myself. I am completely unhappy. I am so lost. I am disgusted. I am quite broken heart. So it can happen like that. So the emotion is you. So the feeling is you. The drawn feeling, the emotion is you, has become the yourself. There is no difference. So emotion has so overwhelmed you, so emotion has become yourself. Vedanang attato samanupassati. So Vedana, the feeling, the whatever this emotion is just mere you. So you have completely identifying with it and you feel unhappy, you are broken, you are completely depressed or completely unsatisfied, completely lost. So the feeling has completely overwhelmed you. On the other hand, there's another relationship. Vedana vantangva attanam. So that means whatever the feeling, so you feel that it is your feeling, self as possessing a feeling. So you are a self, you are a person, you are an individual, so you have a feeling which belongs to you. It has a relationship with you, it's my feeling, it's my happiness, it's my unhappiness, it's my tears, my sorrow. Assume that you lost someone, maybe a few years ago, but still you are feeling, still you feel unsatisfied, still you feel kind of a separation. The moment that you are again and again thinking about that maybe a person, so you feel that unhappiness, still you feel the burning of your heart. So that burning of heart, you sometimes even say, okay, I still have my painful feelings about our, say, past memories, how we lived together, how we had a good relationship, so how we are, worked together, how we went through our life. So you have that feeling. And you possess that feeling. You simply say it is, I am happy, or I am not happy. Oh, I have some happy feelings, I have some trouble sometime. So my thoughts are merely overwhelmed by this sorrow. So you can go and report to the doctor. If you feel depressed, if you feel completely, downward, so probably you can even consult a doctor. And he is asking, why? What has happened to you? So these are the sorrowful thoughts going again and again in your mind. and unfortunately I don't know how to overcome them, and they are repeatedly coming, what we call as rumination. So same subject but repeatedly coming to the mind, so we are ruminating again and again, again and again, again and again. No way, don't know the way out. So sorrowful thoughts, and it can lead to complete depression, kind of a despair. And people may be crying many hours even. The moment that the thoughts, memories come into the mind, again crying. So those are not uncommon. So we might ourselves have gone through this. Probably you can remember certain experiences that we went through. So this is how our lives are continuing. And another step Buddha mentioned, Attaniva Vedanang. So that means feeling as in self. So self is a kind of a huge thing which has so many components, so many aspects, and feeling is one part of it. So you have feeling as one part of yourself. Could be the same, could be the majority of us could be thinking like that. So I have my own possessions, I have my form as a body, my feelings, my perceptions, my thoughts, my creations, my family. So my feelings. And maybe the feelings are inside me. So I feel feelings to my heart. So it's fairly connected to the body, connected to the heart, connected to the mind. So the feelings in that sense can be broadly divided into two categories. They are the bodily feelings and the mental feelings. Sometimes we can say happiness, unhappiness, could be maybe mental, but the pleasure could be bodily. Pain may be bodily. Little bit of despair, little sorrow may be mental. In the body may be certain neutral feelings, but in the mind kind of a boredom. But different tastes of freedom, different tastes of feelings. So either bodily feelings or certainly mental feelings. So likewise Buddha further get into Vedanaya va Attanam. So self as in feeling. So feelings are a huge area, and inside feelings there I exist. That's another way of looking at it. So feelings are so connected to us. Now if you think the body, so there may be certain experiences, okay, I can look at the body as someone else's body. Say the body is breathing. So you can look at it, okay, body is breathing. Are you breathing or the body is breathing? Okay, the body is breathing. So you can come to such kind of a little bit of distance. At the beginning what the perception says is, I am breathing. Fine, I am breathing. But later, as we are continuing our practice, probably we make the perception, okay, body is breathing. Yes, body is breathing. Now the body is breathing longer. Now the body is breathing shorter. Now the breathing is shallow. Now the breathing is longer, very deep. So the body is breathing. So you have a little separated from it. Good. Because at the beginning we didn't even know that, how to have that balance, that proper perspective. But what we thinking was, okay, I need to breathe, though I have to look at the breathing. I am breathing, so I need to control breathing or whatever the way. So I have unnecessarily put my hand, interfered the process. But later we get to know the art. Okay, let the body breathe naturally as it is, as it wants. Let me have a radical acceptance. Okay, I am ready to look at the body, how it is breathing, and let it breathe as the way it wants. I am simply a mere observer. Fairly good. So now yourself and the body are a little separated like. So body is breathing. But feelings, difficult. Not easy as such. Because feelings are so internal. We are always feeling. Always some kind of a feeling is there. So it may take some time even to look at a feeling as a feeling. That I feel or I feel bad, I am feeling happy, Not that like that, but there is a feeling, isn't it? So there is a feeling. Is it your feeling? Is it I am feeling? Or no, a mere feeling? So to come to that level, it may take some time. So that's why typically when we are giving instructions, we start with the body. Okay, Kayanupassana. Start with Kayanupassana. Just look at the body, how it is breathing, how the rising and falling of the abdomen happens, how the body is walking. So fairly easy. A beginner can start from there. Let the body walk and you step back and watch it. So you get to know the art. So the body is something and the knowing part is another thing. So body is physical, okay, knowing is mental. Breathing is physical, but you know the breathing through your mental aspects. But body, feelings, now assume that now there is a pain. Immediately we simply change the posture. We couldn't understand, okay, there is a feeling. We even forgot that. Immediately change the posture. So the change in the posture, basically Buddha say, disqualifies us to understand suffering. Because always change the posture whenever little bit of unhappiness or uncomfort is there, I simply change the posture. Can overcome suffering. But if I am keeping the posture as it is, probably it start burning, lot of pain, increasing pain, difficult. Now probably I can add another pain, a mental pain onto the physical pain. So it's another culprit, another tanglement that we go through, where not only the bodily pain, now we have a mental part or self-created suffering onto the picture. Salla Sutta, where Buddha mentioned, okay, there is one dart, unavoidable, that is the bodily pain. But unfortunately, without proper understanding, we want to remove that pain. Or we may be thinking, okay, why am I suffering? Look at the others, they are so blissful. I am here, pain going on, lot of pain. Others are so happy, so blissful, maybe in the jhana. But I am going through really pain. Why is it happening to me? So I am coming to Kalalgoda many years, but see, still I am painful today. Back pain, neck pain, isn't it? So you feel it more, personalized. So feelings are so personalized now. So you are comparing yourself and the others, and you get into further aggravated unhappiness because we couldn't keep painful feeling as painful feeling, but we have had a person going through that painful feeling, and it is me, poor me, what is happening to me, when am I going to have a blissful experience, or when am I going to get enlightened or jhana or whatever. But unfortunately the body is going through some suffering. And say that is a simple example from here. But say someone has going through some terminal disease. So it is not something he expected. He had a lot of plans. Maybe there are children and husband, wife, many things are there. Everything is now going to affected because he has got a terminal cancer, terminal whatever disease. Now he is taking so personal. All the plans are now almost like collapsed. Now a different motivation is there. How to overcome this disease, how to recover from this, what is going to happen to my children, what is going to happen to my, say, husband, what is going to happen to my wife if I die. So many thoughts are now coming in and in. You become more emotional now. And bodily pain is one thing, but you become so emotional now. You are thinking further ahead. So many plans were there, but all those plans are fairly disturbed now. Assume that when we are simply living our lives, so we have various dreams, various expectations about our lives. But all of a sudden, when someone get to know, okay, I got a terminal cancer, So what is the mentality that person would have? Very difficult. At the beginning it's a kind of even a struggle. Can't even believe it. Like a dream. Like a nightmare. It may take even some time to even accept it. And later, probably after acceptance, you may become somewhat mature and trying to keep the bodily pain as it is, but not making a mental suffering onto it. So you are reducing that self-created suffering. But typically, the self-created suffering is the most predominant one, more than even the bodily pain. So the bodily pain is one area, and on top of that we can add a mental pain, another area. And on top of that, or beyond that, so there are even certain kind of unrest in the mind, certain unsatisfaction in the mind, unfulfilled desires in the mind, unfulfilled expectations in the mind. So those can create certain mental agony, mental despair, little bit of unhappiness, frustration. The body may be feeling healthy, but mind is not healthy. Mind is feeling unsatisfied. Now assume that there is really a rich person. Everything's doing really well. His business is doing really well. Say, family is doing really well. Everything's good. But the fellow is not happy. Even that can happen, no? So the feelings are not that happy, pleasurable, but something is missing, something is lacking. So that is the difficult part in our lives. Even though the physical comfort is there, material wealth is there, but still some unhappiness may be prevalent in the mind. So there are relationships as well. There are bodily discomfort, pain, diseases, and the mental unhappiness, frustration, despair, depression can happen. On the other hand, there may be bodily somewhat okay. Certainly there is no disease, feeling all right, but still mind is not happy, not satisfied, not fulfilled. So we can say, okay, still that means the mental pain is independently there is mental pain, kind of a little bit of despair, unhappiness, unsatisfaction. Now we can come to another area. Now say you are in Anapanasati like meditation, and at the beginning it is quite difficult, but now feeling quite good. Each breath you are so comfortable, happy, joyful. Breath brings you happiness, kind of a joy. And you feel happy, comfortable, have a slight smile. Slowly you come to Piti, Sukha, Ekaggata. Okay, maybe even jhanic experience. So happy. Assume for someone who was struggling for meditation long time, many disturbances, many say bottlenecks, hindrances, but ultimately one day, all of a sudden, everything happened quite smoothly, and you are so blissed out, so happy, no hindrances, no bodily pain. You are like floating. My goodness. So now you are coming to another type of experience, what we call as an unworldly kind of happiness, niramisa piti. So you can experience such from the, say, what we call from meditation point of view. So you can have niramisa piti, unworldly happiness. Now here there may be even attachment to this kind of a blissful experience, but advantage or relief is that even though we are there experiencing such kind of a bliss, there is no any increase of defilements. So while you are being in that unworldly kind of happiness, so you are basically enjoying that, but there is no any increase of the defilements. But the disadvantage in the bodily side, the sensational side, is that when you are going through even suffering, when you are going through even some kind of unhappiness, So you are expecting certain sensual pleasure. That's the only thing we know. Now say for example, you have some bodily pain, and while you are going through that, what you are expecting is maybe a kind of a happiness that you have experienced some time ago. So you are so happy and it is so beautiful and you are elated. So that experience you need instead of this current pain. So you are expecting that, rejecting this. So rejecting this current pain gives certain amount of domanassa, rejection and kind of a resentment towards that. So increasing the patigha anusaya, a certain lower tendency, anger tendency in the mind. On the other hand, expecting that pleasure, what you had yesterday, what you had 1 month ago, what you had previously, you are imagining about it. When am I going to have that kind of an experience? My goodness, I was so happy. But now look at me, everything collapsed. When am I going to have that again? So you are imagining about the happiness, expecting about the happiness, wishing for that happiness, desiring that happiness. So adding another defilement. What is that? Raga anusaya. Latent tendency towards the lust. So both sides we are developing defilements. Maybe someone is crying. Why we are crying? So we can't absorb, we can't accept the present situation. This may be quite difficult, but we can't go through it, we can't be patient with it. We are rejecting it. This is not something I expected, so I am rejecting it, I am crying. I can't bear it. So still, while crying, I am developing defilements, unfortunately. So the latent tendency to anger, patigha anusaya, is still developing. So kind of a pathetic situation. So people are crying because things have gone wrong. They couldn't meet their expectations, but the defilements are still growing. And on the other hand, if you feel bored, like now, if you feel bored, probably again you are expecting something pleasurable. Okay, when I am going to have my cup of tea? When I am going to have some pleasurable movement? When I am going to leave Kalalgoda and have some fun? People can even think like that, and maybe again that desire, lust, based on thoughts are there, and you are watching the clock, oh, it's still some more to go. Some people are, while meditating they watch the clock. Oh my goodness, some more to go. I felt it was 45 minutes, still just 15 minutes. So probably you are hating the present and expecting some pleasure, and both ways you are developing defilements. So the either indulgence with the pleasurable feelings, we are developing lustful tendencies in the mind. By rejecting the pain, we are developing anger tendencies in the mind. By expecting some pleasurable feelings, we are developing the lustful tendencies in the mind. And not being able to bear with the boredom, kind of monotonous kind of feelings, we are simply expecting something pleasurable. Again, we are developing lustful tendencies in the mind. So without knowing proper handling of feelings, this is an area that we can continuously develop defilements. So in order to develop defilements, you don't need to kill people or steal and all that. But even not having proper knowledge about the feelings is another huge area. We unknowingly develop defilements, latent tendencies in our mind. So that is why knowing the feelings, understanding the feeling, recognizing the feelings as feelings objectively, so critical, so important. So as you go on in the meditative side, assume that you are going through Anapanasati as just discussed. Assume there is a really blissful feeling. Rather than expecting that, rather than possessing that or being proud about it, how about step back and watching? Pīti parisangvedī asasī sāmiti sekkati. Sukha patisangvedi asasissamiti sikkati. So there is a pleasurable feeling. There is an uplifted feeling. There is a happy feeling. There is a joyful feeling. There is a joyful feeling. It is not that I am happy, so blissful. Rather, there is a blissful feeling. There is a joyful feeling. So you have a little bit of separation. You step back. You step back and watch it. Difficult, by the way. I can tell you, but difficult. You go through it and see. During that time, what happens is we are so absorbed to that. We want to be there. I mean, don't disturb me, I want to be there. So if the bell rings, oh my goodness, it has gone. I felt like just 15 minutes, I was there for 45 minutes. Oh. So the opposite has happened. So happy, and you hate the person even rang the bell. Because you are so happy after a long time, you are going through that kind of unhappiness. So but that is not the proper approach. How about step back and watching, oh, this is a pleasurable feeling. Now body feels happy. Body feels little pleasurable sensations. Goosebumps are going on. But they are coming and going. The intensity is changing. So if you step back and watch it properly, probably you can see how this piti, rapture, how it is manifested in the body. Maybe like a wave coming and going, another wave coming and going, another wave coming and going. One way of manifestation. Maybe you feel like electric shock. All of a sudden, goosebumps are coming. After some time, again, goosebumps are coming. Another way of pleasure, piti. And sometimes you feel like floating. There is no any, heaviness to the body, completely floating. Really blissful, no friction. Another way of piti, another way of rapture. And sometimes glimpses of happiness are there. So different forms of happiness or different forms of piti, rapture are explained. So these things can be known only if we have that kind of investigative quality in the mind. Rather than we, greedily experience these things, so we are very much like step back and watching them objectively. Now typically it's easy to look at the painful feelings because I don't want them. So you can step back little bit. But pleasurable feelings, say happy feelings, even though we feel like possible, could be little difficult. Because when we are going through it, we are so absorbed to it, we are so close to it, we are so involved with it. I want to be with it. Rather than being separated from it, rather than step back and watch it by maintaining kind of a distance, so I am so involved with it, so absorbed to it, internally stuck. So that's why certain jhanic experience explained, they are like kind of stucking internally. So you're being stuck, you're being absorbed totally. You don't know how to come out, how to step back and watch it. Because the experience is so powerful, because your mind has completely avoid any kind of other distractions, and your mind is so absorbed to a very blissful experience, and you want to have it to the fullest. So don't disturb me, I want to experience it. So this is the approach, this is the way that we may be thinking. And you may be expecting that from the next time as well. So you are sitting, you are going to the cushion, expecting that happiness. But the approach is different. The proper approach has to be different. So when it happens, so how about little bit come away from that, looking at it objectively. It is not as my happiness, my bliss, my pleasure, my rapture. Rather it is a rapturous situation, rapturous state. Now it is changing, now only it is happening, now it has gone. So you are doing kind of an experiment. Piti patisangvedi asasi samiti sikkati. Sukha patisangvedi asasi samiti sikkati. So even the bodily comfort, say you come into if you consider of the third jhana, So completely contented. Not that rough kind of happiness, but completely contented. So peaceful. So even that is more difficult to step back and watch. So internalized. The more refined is the feeling, more difficult would be to look at it objectively. Maybe a typical pleasure, which is more gross, may be easy to look at. Maybe some gross kind of pain, bodily pain, may be easy to look at. Step back and watching it may be easy. But when we are going through some jhanic experience, may be difficult. How about arupa jhana? Even difficult. Because the mind is completely open. No boundary. So how to step back and watch it? So difficult. So that's why, people even might think, okay, this is the Nibbana. This is the end of all suffering. And as you all know that the Bodhisattva, so before he became enlightened, he went to Alara Kalama. He was in the nothingness, the third Arupa Jhana, Akinchanyayatana. And for him, that is the Nibbana. That's the end of the whole suffering. And he taught that to the Bodhisattva, Prince Siddhartha. And he learned that. And he understood, okay, this is not the Nibbana I am expecting. This is still conditioned. But he couldn't convince the teacher. He left. Then he approached Uddakaramaputta. Even higher. Neva Sanyana Sanyayatana. Neither perception nor non-perception. Even so subtle kind of jhanic experience, Arupa Jhana. Formless. And he taught that to the Prince Bodhisattva. And he learned that. But he understood, okay, this is not the Nibbana I am expecting. This is still conditioned. But he couldn't convince Uddakaramaputta. Left. So you can understand now these people are so wise people. And after Buddha become enlightened, to whom that he want to quickly teach the Dhamma? Those two. Uddakaramaputta, Alara Kalama. Unfortunately, both passed away. Now reborn in the Brahma realms, in the Arupa realms. But they had a very sharp mind, but couldn't. So you can understand, these subtle, say, mental states, very blissful, very refined. Only Buddha, in the Chittanupassana, he is teaching us how to step back and watching. But not the other, maybe we can say the religions or other, say, practitioners. They simply think, okay, I have become that. Let me be that. Let me be with that. I am that. That's it. I am attained. I am that. But Buddha, on the other hand, in the Chittanupassana level, so he is so clever, so wise. So he has included in the Chittanupassana, actually we can discuss that later, where Samahitan Chittanti Pajanati. So Sankittan Chittanti Pajanati, Vikittan Chittanti Pajanati, Samahitan Chittanti Pajanati. Sauttarang Vachittan Pajanati. Anuttarang Vachittan Pajanati. Now all the, very refined states of the mind. Say for example, Sauttaran Chittanti Pajanati. Now say you are in first jhana and you want to attain the second jhana because you feel little discomfort in the second jhana. You understand first jhana. Say little disadvantages one may notice. Now you want to give up them. You need to improve to the second jhana. So that thoughts, even Buddha says, Sauttarang Chittanti Pajana. Now you have a thought, okay, this is not the sublime state. Okay, I need to go to another level, which is more sublime. So you are even looking at that mind. Once you are absorbed, still you feel kind of, this is a good state, I have achieved it, let me be there, and this is it. At that moment you are satisfied. So that moment, that thought, even one is looking at anuttaran chittan dipajanati. It is not that you are completely absorbed and have become one with it. Rather, you have a kind of a satisfied thought in the mind, thinking this is the best jhanic experience at the moment I have. So, coming out of such kind of situation and looking at it objectively is so refined. So that's the, the depth of the Buddha's teaching, where he is even teaching us. So rather than you being absorbed to that very blissful, unworldly kind of happiness, so when you feel little unhappy there, and when you are expecting another refined level, further refined level, even you look at that thought. Once you are in a particular level and absorbed to that, or rather than being there, absorbed totally, you feel, you understand, okay, now you have a kind of a satisfaction. You think this is the sublime state. Now the mind has become completely tranquil. So understand, okay, this is a tranquil state of mind. So always looking at things objectively, not that you being absorbed to that. I mean, these things are very, very refined levels. Now, that is where the distinction comes between the feelings, samisa vedana, niramisa vedana. The samisa vedana, the worldly kind of feelings. Say you are watching a movie and you feel happy. You are listening to some music, you feel happy. You are tasting some good food, delicious food, you feel happy. Maybe you are going through some good smell, you feel happy. So the senses are involved. The typical gratification, or rather gratification, maybe the senses are involved, and you feel happy because senses are stimulated. But on the other hand, the unworldly kind of happiness, niramisa piti, maybe you are going through some spiritual experience, senses are not that involved. Say your eyes are closed, you are not listening to music, there is no particular smell, your mouth is closed, there is no particular taste, and body also quite, say, still, but mind very happy. So unworldly kind of happiness, niramisa piti. So looking at even niramisa piti as a niramisa piti, unworldly happiness as unworldly happiness. Not that I am happy, let me enjoy that, don't disturb me. Not that, rather, there is an unworldly kind of happiness. My eyes are not involved, nose, tongue, body, nothing involved. Oh, this is a niramisa piti. That's it. That's a niramisa piti. It's also impermanent, conditioned. Next moment the door may be open, things can close. Next moment the vehicle may ring, what's that? Horn, bang, and the niramisa piti gone. Can happen. Fragile. You need certain amount of, conditions to maintain, then only you may be experiencing that. But there may be really deep absorptions where you are totally absorbed and even the sounds are not disturbing. That's a different story. But typically, say, other disturbances can disturb that experience, and still it is fragile, vulnerable. So anyway, either niramisa piti, either samisa piti, either samisa feelings or either niramisa feelings, whatever it is, if we think this is I am, this is myself, this belongs to me, then we are trapped. That's a difficult thing. So you can look at the body, you can develop different pieces, divide it to small pieces, and you can look at, okay, these are bodily parts, head hair, body hair, teeth, skeleton, this and that. Easy. How about feelings? So feelings are so internal, so connected, and looking at feelings as feelings could be difficult. So Vedananupassana in that sense, at the beginning it appears like easy, but when we are talking the unworldly kind of happiness, and step back and watching it, and allowing it to happen, allowing it to change, and you are not claiming it, you are not personifying it, and simply watching it with a very neutral mindset requires fair amount of maturity. Not an easy task. Now even a practitioner, that actually we haven't touched that here. Now Buddha mentioned, now if we take things personally, so there Buddha mentioned, Tassa sa vedana viparinamati anyata hoti. Tassa vedana viparinama anyata bhava uppajjanti soka pariddeva dukkha domana supayasa. Now say for example, you are enjoying jhana for several years even. But due to some personal commitment, family commitment, you couldn't meditate for several months, and you tried after some time, all of a sudden you found, oh, I can't go to that jhana. How will you feel like? You might feel complete collapse. Even monks have gone through that. There are stories, suttas, that certain monks, they are quite depressed because they lost the jhana. They invite the Buddha, Bhante, and they send a message. Okay, they are quite sick now, and they are sending the message to the Buddha, telling, please come and look at me. So I am completely depressed. So Buddha come and look at him, and he's asking, what happened? Bhante, I was so blissed out during my previous years. I am so eagerly practicing. I was able to attain this and that jhana, but I have lost everything now. Look at me. I am so sick, several long time now. I lost everything. So Buddha is asking, have you any kind of doubt about your sila? No. Sila is very good. Then how about your... Did I mention you that jhana is the ultimatum? Jhana is nibbana? Oh, this is what you want to have? No answer. So Buddha say, okay, in my sasana, this jhana, the worldly type of thing, is not the ultimate that I am talking. If you have sila, you can have a, unperplexed mind, tranquil mind. You be happy with the sila, that so long I have maintained that, honestly maintained that. You be happy about it. And once you have that, you may have a little bit of happiness. Among all these troubles, I have maintained my sila. Be happy about it. And that little happiness makes you a little comfortable. And if you feel confident, that gives you some kind of a comfort to the body. Now your mind gets concentrated. May not be the jhana, but mind is concentrated. Now that concentration you can use to look at the phenomena, to know the true nature, reality, and maybe you can develop wisdom. Wisdom is another path available. Not that you have to be every time blissed out. So unfortunately, all this changes what we expect. From the feeling point of view, if they are not met, we can collapse. We can feel completely unhappy, feel even depressed, broken heart. So everything can happen. So that's why whenever we are identifying with any kind of feeling, either it may be bodily, mental, samisa, niramisa, when we are identifying with it and unexpected things are happening, when we didn't expect that to happen, then we might get disturbed. So you may even cry, even feel collapse, depressed, because you are expecting certain way of behavior of the feelings. I want to experience happiness forever. Now say for example, someone is going to marry. So what are the feelings they have? Okay, I am going to marry him, marry her, I am going to build a house, going to enjoy, have children like this, that. Many fantasies are there, many expectations are there. So expecting, okay, this happiness, these kind of pleasures can be controlled within my hand. So we have unknown, unseen kind of a possession, unknown, unseen kind of a governance to the feelings. But when things change, we feel completely lost. This is not I expected. I expected the happiness, but I didn't get it. Things have changed. You feel lost. You feel broken-hearted. I expect a call, didn't get. I am crying. Bante, what am I going to do? I am going to marry her on 18th. Can I marry her? Very difficult. I mean, so emotionally bound. I am expecting that. I want her to behave like that, but she didn't behave like that. So the feelings I am right now having completely changed. I can't bear it. Now I am crying. So that's why the Sakkaya Ditthi, with respect to feelings, ultimately causes unhappiness. Ultimately causes kind of a despair, broken heart, sorrow, lamentation. Even lamentation you can see. I mean, even lamentation is possible because we were expecting certain kind of a behavior of feelings, but that is not what has happened. So you are completely lost. So with respect to feelings, so therefore it's a very important area. Probably we are able to let go of the body, look at the body objectively. It is so gross, possible, easy. But looking at the feelings as feelings, maybe bodily feelings easy, but mental feelings, blissful feelings, jhanic experiences, very subtle jhanic experiences, without identifying with it, step back and watching it, difficult. Say for example, just to give a simple example, now say we have pure water. Into that pure water, say if someone is putting stones, huge stones, easily can be noticed, right? Say someone is putting some sugar drops. What happened? Can you notice it after some time? Completely, it melted there, but taste has changed. Isn't there a change? There is a change. It is no more a pure water. It is mixed with something. So likewise, even the mind has mixed with certain feelings, there it has lost its original nature. So watching it, I mean, when we ourselves are going through that, watching it, recognizing it is so difficult, so subtle, so refined. So these are very interesting areas actually we can explore in the Vedananupassana level, and we'll look at it further tomorrow, and what Buddha asking us, looking at how he's directing us into this Vedananupassana. So with that, I like to conclude today's Dhamma sermon. Thank you very much for attentive listening. Do you have a sharing of merits today? No? No? Okay. Okay, we'll add it tomorrow. No problem. Okay. We have still time, so please continue your practice. I did the Dhamma sermon a little earlier today. That doesn't mean that you can leave now. You are supposed to spend more time practicing. So all the merits what we have accumulated so far, we'll share with all the celestial beings, all past relatives, and whoever in need of merits. And we wish these merits help us also to attain path, fruition, nibbana. We'll recite the traditional verses. Ettavatacha amhehi sambatang punya sampadang sabbe deva anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Ettavatacha amhehi sambatang punya sampadang sabbe bhuta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Ettavatacha amhehi sambatang punya sampadang සම්මේ සත්තා අනුමෝදන්තු සබ්බ සම්පatti සිද්ධියා ආකාසට්ඨා ච බුම්මට්ඨා දේවානාගා මහිද්దికා පුඤ්ඤන්තං අනුමෝදිත්වා චිරං රක්ඛන්තු ශාසනං ආකාසට්ඨා ච බුම්මට්ඨා දේවානාගා මහිද්దికා පුඤ්ඤන්තං අනුමෝදිත්වා චිරං රක්ඛන්තු දේශනං ආකාසට්ඨා ච බුම්මට්ඨා දේවානාගා මහිද්దికා පුඤ්ඤන්තං අනුමෝදිත්වා චිරං රක්ඛන්තු මම් පරං ඉදං වෝ ඥාතීනං හෝතු සුඛිතා හොන්තු ඥාතයෝ ඉදං වෝ ඥාතීනං හෝතු සුඛිතා හොන්තු ඥාතයෝ ඉදං වෝ ඥාතීනං හෝතු සුඛිතා හොන්තු ඥාතයෝ ඉමිනා පුඤ්ඤ කම්මේන මාමේ බාල සමාගමෝ සතං සමාගමෝ හෝතු යාව නිබ්බාන පත්තියා ඉමිනා පුඤ්ඤ කම්මේන මාමේ බාල සමාගමෝ සතං සමාගමෝ හෝතු යාව නිබ්බාන පත්තියා ඉමිනා පුඤ්ඤ කම්මේන මාමේ බාල සමාගමෝ සතං සමාගමෝ හෝතු යාව නිබ්බාන පත්තියා සාදු සාදු සාදු